Hello, I'm Catherine Maguire. Welcome to the Soul Alchemist Podcast. I'm so delighted you've chosen to take a little time out for your day, be it to have a cup of coffee or to have a walk with me, to remember the essence of who you truly are and reconnect to your inner gold. Thank you. Before we start today, I want to ask you a favor, please. If you're enjoying the podcast, if you find it helpful, if you're feeling inspired by it, could you please subscribe or like or leave it a rating or a comment? Because at the moment, the podcast is invisible to the internet podcast world. And if you like or subscribe or comment or rate the podcast, the algorithm gods start to pay attention and go, ooh, there must be something interesting going on in there. And it starts to show it to other people who hopefully will feel inspired or be helped by it. So I'd really appreciate if you could do that for me. That would be amazing. So today I want to start with a question. And my question is, do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? And be curious as to what happens in your body when I ask you that. And the reason I ask is because the majority of my clients, and myself included, have really strong magical child archetypes. So the magical child is your divine essence. It's who you were before you incarnated and before this earth experience made you feel fearful or unsure. And it's a really beautiful energy. The magical child is our innocence. It's our curiosity. It's our creativity. It's our playfulness. It's the part of us that allows us to see the good and the wonder and awe in all things. And if we can nurture that magical child and take care of her and give her boundaries so that she can flourish and boundaries to keep her safe, then she grows and integrates into an adult. And as the adult, that magical child becomes the magician. And that's where you learn to alchemize. But like all things, it doesn't always go that way. So often, if that magical child energy is strong in you, a point will come where you will hear things maybe like, you got to grow up, you got to take things seriously, you got to start daydreaming, you got to stop playing with fairies, you got to stop playing with your magical friend. All those crafty things you're doing, all those games you're making up, that's very nice. But, at some point you'll have to get a real job, all those things that make us feel, one, we're not good enough as we are. And that the world, the grown up outside adult world, is a very kind of heavy and serious place. So often we take our magical child energy and stick it in the shadows of our being, hoping to remember to pick it back up at some point again. And when we put our magical child into the shadows, two main things happen. We can create an active shadow. So the active shadow is it plays out in a more kind of aggressive way. It's like the high chair tyrant. There's tantrums, there's demands, there's a kind of that diva energy, but also you don't take responsibility. Everything is everybody else's fault. You stay childish. It's, and that we bring that into life, which is it's your partner's fault. It's your boss's fault. It's the job's fault. It's the government's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's nothing to do with you. Okay. And it can be quite a bully, aggressive energy. Okay. The flip side is we can put it into our passive shadow where we become kind of a weakling. We kind of lack initiative. We lack energy. We lack enthusiasm. We need to be coddled. We need to be really clingy. We moan and complain. We can be a hypochondriac. We can really feel that, have that helpless victim energy. And that energy can be physically weak, but kind of a very sharp tongue. Okay. Can be quite spiteful. So the truth of the matter is most of us have a bit of that active shadow where we're demanding and never satisfied, or that passive shadow where we're feeling victimy and sorry for ourselves. Okay. And if you've ever read the book, The Secret Garden, It's a beautiful little book. But in that book, the two main characters, the two protagonists, one, Mary has that active shadow. She's, the demanding spoiled child. And then Colin is the passive shadow. He's the weakling. He has to be pushed around, carried around. He believes he can't walk. And together they go on this, they're kind of brought into this adventure by this fabulous boy, Dickon, who introduces them to nature. Dickon can speak to animals. He's at one with nature, and he re-enchants them with the world, and they can heal. And so in our journey towards magic, it's, can we step back into re-enchantment? Can we become re-enchanted with the world again? But most importantly, can we become re-enchanted with ourselves? Can we become re-enchanted with ourselves? Because if we connect to our magical child, two things happen. One, we become empowered because we know we are the creator of our own reality. The world we live in is 95% energy. If you take a look outside your window and see all that, the buildings, the trees, the plants, the animals, whatever's outside your door, even the chair you're sitting on or the desk you're at or wherever you're at, the world we live in is only 5% matter. The other 95% is energy. So if you look at all the matter that is around you and go, that's even the phone or the device you're listening to the podcast on, that's only 5%. The dense part of that is 5%. The energy, the space between the particles is 95%. And if you can reconnect to your magical child, you reconnect with your ability to engage with energy. And then you can understand and learn the tools of how to start creating the life you want to live for yourself and for the world. And that's really empowering. And that's really empowering. And the other beautiful part of connecting to your magical child, excuse me, is you start to come into a co-creative relationship with life. And you realize that life is working for you and through you. And life is trying to support you. And that you're not doing any of this life, earth experience on your own. So I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story about being supported. Back in 2012, I wrote a book. It was called Tending to Your Inner Garden. It was a book for women about the sacredness of womanhood. And I was 100% sure this book was going to change the world. So I took it. I took it to Australia. I took it to Hawaii. I took it to Canada. I took it to America. The kind of greater part of the English-speaking world to bring this book and share it and change women's lives. And in truth, I did change women's lives, or the book did change women's lives, but not on the scale I thought I was going to. But the book changed my life in so many ways. So the story I want to tell you is what happened when I went to Australia. When I'd never been to Australia before, and the first place I got to was Perth, over on the west coast in Western Australia. And it was an interesting dynamic for me because when I traveled with my husband and when we got to Perth, we found out quite quickly that it wasn't a good time to be Irish in Western Australia because some things had happened, especially with some of the guys that were working up in the mines, and just kind of the feeling towards Irish people had been tainted. And I'm arriving there with my book. So anyway, I was invited to this dinner and I was outside Perth. We had to get a train and we went off and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. We had an amazing time. We met amazing people, made amazing connections, some of them who are still friends. And then at one point, the host of this dinner, he looked at me kind of in shock and went, "Oh my God, we've left it too late. There's only 10 minutes to your train." So there was a mad dash because it was the last train back to Perth. So we jumped in his car, kind of super fast goodbyes, if any. He drove us down to the train station, jumped out of the car onto the platform, and they're putting coins in the machine to get tickets for my husband and I. I just got enough coins in for one ticket and the train rolls up. We jumped on the train because it's the last train back. Normally, this wouldn't bother me. I've got a ticket, I've got the money for the next ticket, just the train came too fast, or we got there too late, whichever way you want to frame that. But I was really conscious that I was without a ticket and I was an Irish woman, and this was not the time to be Irish in Perth. Okay. So I sat on the train, and my logical brain is fine. My logical brain is, you have a ticket, you have the money for the other ticket. You just get to the end station and pay for the ticket at the other end. No problem. My illogical brain was freaking out. We were going to get busted by the metro cops. We were going to be thrown in jail, and on and on and on it went. Okay. So I'm sitting on the train trying to find some bit of peace and regulate my breathing. And the doors in between the carriages opened. And through the door came this beautiful young Aboriginal girl. I'd say she was 16 or 17. I can still see her. She was in flip-flops, cut off denim shorts, a little t-shirt, and she had the most amazing mane of wavy brown hair that went all the way down her back, nearly to her bum. Stunning looking girl. And I was just in awe of her beauty. She was like this goddess walking up the train. And she walks up the train and she arrives to where I'm sitting, and she stops and she turns and she looks me in the eye and she says, "This is for you." And she hands me a train ticket. That's for the exact price I need to get back to Perth. And seconds later, we arrive in a station. She steps off the train. I turn around to see her and she's gone. And my husband and I just sit there in shock and awe, looking at each other and this train ticket all the way back to Perth. Now that's magic. That's the real magic of the universe. That's when life and the universe comes in to support you and help you. And I promise you, you probably have one of those stories yourself. And why am I telling you this today? I'm telling you this because most of my clients at some point packed away their magical child, or the majority of that magical child energy. And life got really, really hard. It lost its color. And instead of working with the 95% energy, they're working on matter, working harder, working longer, doing more, trying to get things done, trying to figure things out logically and linearly, because that's, how we're supposed to do things in the world. But when you bring back in magic, life gets more interesting. The color comes back in again. And you find solutions and possibilities and opportunities that your logical mind could not come up with. And you feel that awe and wonder, whether it's a beautiful sunrise or a sunset or a moment of exquisite light, whether it's, if you have a child, the way that your beautiful baby child looks at you and you see the wonder and the awe in the magical child in their eyes. So my question that I'm going to leave you with today is, do you believe in magic? But the bigger question is, because the magical child lives inside you, do you believe in yourself? I wish you a wonderful and magical week. Sending so much love from my heart to yours. Aho.